Hey guys, welcome back to Insight Tennis Tour Stroke Series. My name is Rick Oldroyd. I'm the president and founder of Insight Tennis. We're doing a lot of new things with Insight Tennis this year, and we've gotten a lot of requests from all over the world to put together some training courses, specific courses on the forehand and the backhand and so forth. We have just launched the first course, the Forehand Mastery Training Course. It is available now on the website. I'll go ahead and include the link below here if you want to go check that out. The backhand, two-hand backhand will be the first one we do, and we just finished shooting that last week. That will be coming out probably this week, so watch for that as well. And check out the website. A lot of new content, new things coming. It is a work in progress, obviously, but we've got a lot of new things listed on the website that will be forthcoming. So go check that out, subscribe to the channel, and click the notifications button so you get all of the newest content as it comes out. Today's lesson and today's video is going to be on the forehand. Now, if you have watched any of my other videos on the forehand, you know that I advocate that this concept of the windshield wiper forehand that's out there. I'm not by any means saying that a windshield wiper-like motion doesn't happen in the forehand. It just happens after contact. Much of it is after the ball is gone. Now, there is rotation into impact, no question about that. And there is extension out through contact, no question about that. But the wrap and much of what you see happens after the ball's gone. And that's where I think a lot of players are really getting confused about this. There's a lot of, in my opinion, misinformation out there because of the way perhaps that it's been explained, but also it is very, very difficult to see the truth at real speeds. Even if you go look at it in super slow motion, you're going to find it very difficult to discern what is actually happening because it's visually very, very deceiving. So today what we want to talk about, and I'm going to use my hand as a reference today so you can kind of see, because I want to be very, very clear about a couple of things. I think that people have thought that we're saying, no, you got to just hit through the ball and there's no rotation and so forth. That is not what we're saying at all. So we want to illustrate it first of all with the hand, and then I'll illustrate it with the racket. So before we kind of dive into this, obviously I advocate, as most pros play with a semi-western grip or some variation thereof. I think that's the most versatile grip, so I advocate the semi-western grip. And again, to find that grip's very, very simple. If I look at the back of the racket here, this is bevel number 1, 2, 3, 4. I want my index knuckle on bevel number 4 and the pad of a hand on bevel number 4. And that's pretty close to what I would advocate in terms of a semi-western grip. Now there are some different variations, of course, and find what works for you, that's fine. But today what I want to kind of illustrate, I'm going to use my hand so you can see visually what I'm talking about. Now, it has largely been taught that on the forehand I want to take my racket back, and I want to, as you know, let's just assume my hand is my racket face. And as it releases back and as I come back to contact, that as I get to here, that I want to do this kind of thing with my wrist right at impact, that I want to rotate hard like this. There's a couple of things that are wrong with that, in my opinion. Number one, it's just simple physics. If I rotate my racket excessively at impact, I'm not going to be able to hit the ball very clean. The interval where the frame, or the strings rather, is square to the ball is so minute if you are taking a full normal swing and doing this at impact. So guys, I understand that it's been explained that way at times. It just simply does not happen like that at the pro level. And if you go look at the pro the videos that are out there, you're going to see this very, very clearly. So let me be very clear. What I am advocating is that as you come into the ball, this is what does not happen at the tour level. They do not come to the ball like this and then rotate their hand up like this abruptly right at impact. Okay? And when you see it with my hand, you can tell, you can see that very, very clearly. Now I want you to watch carefully. As I come in, if this is my racket face, and as I'm coming in, I am going to rotate back to contact, and I continue out through the ball, also rotating. But from this position, the ball is gone. And you're going to see that extension and wrap that you see the pros have, and that happens after the ball's gone, much of it. And that's the deception right there. So I want to show you again, if I come into the ball like this, and I come in with my racket laid back and I go like that, right at contact, flip my hand up like this. Not saying there isn't rotation, don't get me wrong. And if I'm up close to the net and I have to do more wrist, that's an exception to the rule. But I'm talking about the rally ball, the ball from the baseline. So this is what I'm advocating does not happen. They do not come up and do this kind of thing right at contact, so that their hand is rotating this way right at contact. Now, is there rotation? Absolutely. So let's look at what it actually looks like when it's done correctly. If I come back and I release that racket back as I come into contact here, and my racket comes back and squares back up, watch what happens here. My hand is coming towards you, but it is also rotating. Okay? So there is rotation. It's just not this right at impact. That's the myth right there. Okay, so don't want you to misunderstand this. So watch with my hand again. I'm coming in, I come out towards my target and rotate. Okay, if I do that, what I've actually now, I'm going to do it in real speed, and it's going to look like I'm rotating like has so often been taught, right? But now let me show you what I just did in slow motion. So as I come in like this, I come back to contact, and my racket rotates out through the ball, right? Good extension out through the ball, and finishes, and that's what everybody sees. So hopefully that visual will help you, okay? If you watch my hand again, you're going to say, oh yeah, you're rotating right at contact, but I'm actually not rotating as much as is widely believed, or certainly not just my wrist independent of my body. Okay, so watch again. Here I'm coming in. As I release the racket back, I'm coming back. Now watch. Through. Okay? Here, through. Here, through. Okay? Now, that looks like this, but it's not. And that's the reason why it's so deceptive. So, guys, if you are struggling to hit the heavy ball, if you can't get that penetration through the court that you see so many of the pros have in that, whether it's a flat shot or whether it's a topspin shot, there's still heaviness to the shot because they hit through the ball. And that is one of the keys that is being lost out there, in my opinion. There's too much talking about brushing. There's too much talking about rotation right at contact. And if you go, don't take my word for it, just go watch the best players in the world. You're going to see it as plain as day. These guys hit through the line of the ball. Yes, it goes from the lower level to the higher level. I get that. I'm not advocating that that's not the case. Now, let's take a couple of swings here with a racket so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and just take some normal swings, and you're going to see that it looks like I'm rotating right at impact, but I'm not. Okay, watch again here. Okay, so I'm here, release. It looks like that's what I'm doing, right? That looks correct, doesn't it? Okay, and even though that looks like I'm doing that right at impact, there is rotation, but it isn't my wrist independent. Now let me show you the difference. If I was to rotate my wrist right at contact like that, like so often is being taught, then what would happen is I would be up here right after contact. Okay? Straight up like in the air like this. Okay? Now, I'm not advocating that there isn't rotation. There is. It's just not abrupt right at contact like this. This is what's getting people into trouble. This idea right there. Just doing this at contact. Okay? If you watch the best players in the world, this is not what they're doing. Okay? But what they are doing is what I'm about to show you. So this is an example, you know, of Federer, and again, nobody can emulate Federer, but I'm going to do my best, okay? So, taking his racket back, the arm goes across, he lowers his racket down into position, right, like this, and then he releases his racket back as he starts to uncoil his body. It seeks this laid back position. As he comes back to contact, you're going to see that his racket does this, out to his target. Out to his target, so that after contact he's got his racket in this position here, and then the racket just releases and comes over to finish. Okay, so guys, I know this is a lengthy discussion, but it's so critically important that we get this point across. You've got to hit through the ball in order to have that heavy shot. So again, all the way out through the ball. So hopefully guys, this will help. If you like the video, click the link below, subscribe to the channel, and visit our website. Thank you so much for your time, guys. We do appreciate it. We'll see you next time out on the court.